Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR428. It's AEW NJPW Forbidden Door. That is a mouthful, but luckily I am not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first, by my side for every WWE and AEW pay-per-view, it is Jaxie. How you going?
Yes. Hello. Ready to get on with reviewing this exciting and amazing pay-per-view event we've just had. Hoping you're doing well, James.
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm so glad that you are by my side yet again as we head towards the Forbidden Door. But up next, joining us, our New Japan expert. You know, New Japan. This guy knows more about New Japan than any of the other three of us combined. Also, our NXT expert as well. It is Monty. How you doing?
I'm good, man. After that show, I'm on cloud nine. I'm high off life. Any other acronym for just being over the moon that you can think of, that's where I'm at right now. I'm doing good. This was a great show, and I'm just ready to talk about it.
It's crazy because, you know, even I watching it and I can think, I kind of know a few of these guys, but for you to kind of know the history of it to come together, like you said, must have been just like special, you know?
Yeah, someone who's been watching since, like I said, the last 6 years, I've kind of watched most of these people either come into their own, and to see them in these situations with other wrestlers from not only other promotions, but wrestlers I've seen in AEW who wrestled in New Japan before. It was just great. It's just a lot of emotions, really, that I can get into later. But yeah, man, it's definitely an awesome moment. That was special to me.
Down last, but by no means least, Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, that's right. All right. He said the person who invented the hamburger was smart, but the person who invented the cheeseburger was a genius. And there's none other than to introduce Genius Gina. But you're a little bit under the weather as you join us today.
Hey gang, yeah, I'm not doing so well today, so a bit exhausted and tired, so maybe a bit quiet, but I'm super excited to still review this show because it was so fire.
Yeah, without a doubt. We're going to get on to that. Just first off, mention the live show. I want to give a big thanks to everyone that, of course, listened, and for your emails as well. Well, most of them, because we're going to get into it. And a few people said, first off, they attacked me. I will say this. I've been attacked on this show for years, being called too loud or whatever it is. A few people said I didn't let Jaxie talk during the Japan roundup when she's seen the event, or actually not letting Gina talk that much either. And if I did that, I do apologise, you know. But
I wouldn't have said that you weren't allowing me to talk, even though I've watched it. I was very much engrossed into what Monty was saying because he was breaking down everything for me, you know. So, I mean, it's nice to know that you guys would like to hear more opinions that I have on New Japan, but I promise you, I will get there. We'll get started with this pay-per-view as well. But let's just say, you know, I'm now becoming a quick fan of New Japan. So don't worry, you'll get your fill of Jaxie's comments and thoughts on New Japan.
Yeah, and I try not to talk over kind of anybody, anytime, you know, and, you know, sometimes it can be a bit excitable on the live show. But on the other hand, again, I enjoy people getting addictions as much as kind of we do. But a few people have complained saying Jaxie and Gina's...
But I will say this to people out there. I do say to the guys that I get a bit shy with these podcasts sometimes, so I may not speak up as frequently as the others. I will try my best. Probably after I feel much better, I'll be more chattier. So I apologize for today, but I promise to bring double the energy next time.
I'm going to get an email about not letting Gina talk just a second ago. So if that's the case, I apologise for future, it's like Minority Report. I apologise for future crimes.
James, it's fine.
We're just going to call this Everybody Loves Monty podcast soon and be done with it. But like I said, on the other hand, people getting in predictions saying Jaxie and Gina are too similar with picking predictions. And it's not different.
Guys, seriously, we're twins. We're gonna have
Right.
like there's. Me and my sister do not discuss our predictions before we write them down. We then send them to James on the group so that they're already sent. I am sorry if our twin minds work the same and we choose the same person, but it's gonna be between one or the other. Like, I'm sorry if that doesn't please you, but guess what? Monty and James chose a lot of similar choices to me as well. So
you know, I actually, when I got this, I did look back because we've been doing the predictions now for over 6 months, and in actual fact, Monty and I have matched up more than
way
Jaxie
more.
and Gina. So have that, yeah. So fuck you guys.
yeah, you two must
shut up.
So can I also chime in here and just say, in the beginning of when I first started to join with the predictions, I actually was choosing answers that I thought would be opposite of people, and you all told me off for doing that and said to go with my gut.
Yeah, that's true.
My choices.
Exactly.
So again, going back to what Jaxie said, we're twins. Our gut instincts are probably always going to align with each other. So hopefully that is enough to satisfy your answers to that, but I'm also not going to change it again.
I mean, again, just to stress out, you know, my sister and I live in different cities, and yet I will still come up to see her on a weekend and we both are wearing the exact same thing. So it's not exactly like we purposely try, all right? But like, there's only so much you can do when there's a match between two people and you have to choose one or the other. So deal with it.
We also just like dressing like each other. We really hate that about twins. So if we do turn up in the same outfit, we're actually annoyed at each other.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we dealt with that. Received a few emails about the women's situation. A lot of people happy with Jaxie kind of standing up for this. But we had a few experts who wouldn't tell us. Or a couple of people said that the women's match ruined the card in itself, but didn't offer an explanation why either it did or the fact New Japan doesn't have women's wrestling. But they are experts, you know.
I am actually just going to turn around to you now, and with no actual, this is no offense intended, but that's bullshit. This isn't a New Japan event. It was an AEW crossover with New Japan. So you saying that the women's match shouldn't been on there or it didn't mesh up. Do you know why? Because there was only one women's match. If you had more than one match, then it probably would have looked even better, a lot more colourful, and we would have gotten a lot more content to showcase the talent of these women. So if you didn't like it, then maybe stick with just New Japan Wrestling pay-per-view events if you don't like seeing women wrestling. But apart from that, I'm not going to stop standing up for the women of wrestling that deserve it.
They may not like that going forward because they're working with Stardom.
Yeah. I think one of the other things is that the reason why maybe their match didn't pop as much is because the lack of a storyline built up to it. Exactly. And that's maybe why this person is probably thinking that the match was irrelevant. And so maybe from that perspective, I can understand it. But I also would like to say that I would have been more annoyed if there was no women's match on the card at all. So the fact that
it would have been everywhere. We've been 5 stars.
Exactly. So I'm grateful enough that we even got just the one match. I would have preferred to have another match on the cards, and it would have been great to maybe include a Japanese female wrestler. But at the end of the day, as New Japan have stated, they don't really have their female wrestlers. Female wrestlers have Stardom, which is their own separate, and it wasn't
we can't forget
Stardom crossover. It wasn't that.
But we also can't forget that AEW is home to quite a few Japanese female wrestlers. We could have easily had like Shida, Emi Sakura, May, I've forgotten her last name, Riho. You know, that there was opportunity, but there wasn't enough time to build up everything to a storyline for any of these women, let alone Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. So yeah, there's been lack of build up, but we've discussed this on previous podcasts that they really do need to sort of up their game when it comes to featuring women talent, and that's just a personal role that AEW need to work on themselves. You know, this event is perfect example of that.
And again, I'll say it's great having new listeners and feedback, but unfortunately with these kind of, I call them Johnny come latelys, who have not been listening to the podcast since its very beginning, because you would have listened to us covering the Mae Young Classic, you know, with Oscar Streak and NXT, the Women's Revolution, Sasha Banks versus Bayley, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. That's all I need to say. That's what started my love properly for it, and I've been trying to continue it on the pod ever since. But a lot of love for the live show. And Tony Khan, as we talk about the women's absence on the card, it said he wants, obviously, the whole thing is Bushiroad own New Japan and Stardom, so it's been quite easy to get them together. But Tony Khan noted that, of course, with visas have been too close at a time. He also said about, you can only have a week, so we can't get them over on our own TV show. But again, I don't want to go into too much detail what Tony Khan is doing at this moment in time. The worst one, though, and this is, I'm not really sure how to deal with this, so I'm going to leave it, I think, with you three. People talking about the only match featuring people of colour was the Swerve and Keith Lee match. Now, again, this is quite interesting, I think, in a couple of reasons. But Monty, first, what are your thoughts on that statement in itself? Because I found it a bit confusing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. It's not. I don't. Yeah, I mean, you can make that point. Like, of course, we talk about representation. You want it. You want to see everyone fleshed out all throughout the card. But let's not act like if Scorpio Sky wasn't dealing with an injury, he probably wouldn't have a TNT title match here or something, possibly with someone in New Japan, maybe. I could say that, with his injury, or, I know they don't want to rush the Wardlow thing, but who knows what could be going on if he's healthy. So there go more representation you could have had. We talked about a second women's match. Usually there is a Jade Cargill, women's match in these pay-per-views or something like that. That wasn't the case. We've already discussed why. So, I can see what they're saying. Maybe you could involve more. You can see spots. But the card was taped together. I think you really need to give them a break in general, because the original card they had in the first place just fell apart. So they had to scramble a lot. So to expect a wild amount of changes, the Swerve and Lee match was added kind of last minute, if you see what I'm trying to say, for a buy-in spot. So, they were scrambling. I don't really look at it as something that was like done on purpose or anything that symbolizes anything. We see what they're building. We have people of color all through AEW doing a lot of prominent things all the time. So I don't necessarily think this is a fair criticism here, but I would like to hear what you guys think.
I mean, I agree with you. This may be down to my own sort of thoughts and opinions on it. However, I don't define person of color as black people. Person of color,
that's true too.
Is a different race. First of all, Max Caster was also on the show, and Anthony Bowens also was there.
True.
Yep.
So you can't deny that it's just Swerve and Lee. Secondly, you had a plethora of people from different cities in Japan as part of these shows.
Exactly.
Okay, they are people of color too. We had a Bulgarian. We had someone from.
Kenta was still here.
We actually had a match that is literally depicting people from different countries. Persons of color literally represent not just black people, but people from different race and religions. It's what every individual believes. But I do not define people of color as black people. That's not how I look at things. So for me, I didn't see any form of issue when it came down to race. I do think that if they pushed too many black people black wrestlers into matches just because they wanted to get the minority out
they're going to get called out for that.
I would have picked up on that even more and been like, we got no build-up, no stories for these people. Are you just putting them in because they're black? And then that would have been even more of a slap in the face, because you're just shoving them in because you're like, oh, we need more black people. So, it needs to make sense. Don't put people in just because of their in a match just because of their race or their color. So that's my thoughts on it, though.
Like I said, that's kind of, it's good to hear, because The thing is about it as well is I'm sure, people, it's weird that they listen to the podcast and talk about it, but it's even when they, oh, well, you hear it in conversation for other people, whatever it is, talking about, oh, the white man now is kind of the dying breed and on television, and there's the whole thing, even like Ms. Marvel recently. And my mindset is, well, if you don't want to watch the new stuff, you've got 70 fucking years of television, film, theatre, whatever else you want to go and watch.
Right.
If you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Which, again...
Personally for myself, I work, my role does also depict a lot of equality and diversity conversations. So I do have a lot of conversations that may be classed as uncomfortable to have, but it's important to talk about these things. However, there's a difference between accusations and discussions, and you just got to think of it from different points of view. This isn't just because we are in sort of an era where we are looking more at sort of the minorities and how they've been treated, whether it be in work or outside of work, doesn't mean that we should be looking at each role, each match, and being like, right, we don't have a black person in here, so we need to put a black person in there. We don't have a Chinese person here, so we need to put a Chinese person in here. It's not how it works. It is based off of talent, but it's all about equality, and it's just about making sure that everyone's given a chance. At this current moment in time, in terms of the build-up for this Forbidden Door event, there was just not much on in terms of storyline that involved many black persons. But there was a whole other country that was being introduced with its form of wrestling being introduced too. So I can't really see it as, oh, they were just white.
A step back.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, to say there isn't an issue is just around it where it is, like I said, to discuss it and to talk about it, and hopefully, like-minded people, open-minded people, can actually have a proper discussion. But this is what worries me. It's even with, women's rights now, and even, professional wrestling aside, or whatever it is. Don't really touch that conversation, but you're thinking, so it's anybody then that isn't kind of, like I said, white male in charge. And I hate to say it, but it just seems that the proof is in the pudding, guys. And anybody doesn't like me saying that, just check history. It's very fucking simple. And if you don't know, there's a crazy old fucking white man in charge of WWE at this moment in time, riding it towards hell. So don't say they don't exist.
Exactly.
Right. So we had to address all that, but we're glad people enjoyed the live show. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we appreciate all of your comments, and we do take, any constructive criticism as well. But also, just kind of be prepared if you're going to be listening in on us that you are kind of getting our opinions. So I'm sorry if they offend you, but we do our best to be impartial and kind of look at it from an overall wrestling fan's point of view.
I think that's excellent. Right, so let's start with some wrestling. June 26th, then, the Forbidden Door, and we begin with the buy-in and Excalibur, Kevin Kelly, and Taz on commentary. The first match was QT Marshall and Aaron Solo versus Hirokuri Goto and Yoshihashi. And of course, Solo and Marshall were the heels in this. And this was a fast-paced match, some good action, but not a lot of selling. It felt like we were just moving from spot to spot at times. Goto and Yoshihashi scored the win to start things off. Jaxie, what do you think of this open? I thought it was a fun way to start.
I thought it just kind of was like, it was quite a fun way to sort of enter into the buy-in. I thought it was, it kind of did its thing. I was really intrigued watching Goto and Hashi. Really liked their unison when working together, sort of thing. You could really see the trust built between the two. So it was a fun match for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. Chaos did really well. And QT's good heel. Him trying to 450 was either crazy or impressive.
I did tell you, James, QT is the greatest jobber out there.
He really. What would you score that out of 5 to start us off?
I mean, I thought the match was great, and it showcased Goto and Hashi well. So I'm going to give it like a 3.5.
Yeah. Monty, what about you? What do you think of Chaos? You're more accustomed to these guys, obviously.
Yeah, they've been teaming up for a while. Like, they won tag league over the last 2 years once, and they're former IWGP World Tag Champion. So I kind of know what to expect from them in the ring. And like you said, they're really, really good in unison. And Yoshihashi has stepped his game up. It was so cool to hear a Yoshihashi chant in America. Like, you could tell this crowd, you could tell this was the crowd that sold this place out in a record pace because they were into it from the jump. And so I thought this was all solid, like you said. This is what I'm kind of used to set up and kind of get you ready for the show. New Japan loves running tag to protect their wrestlers. So this was like another like textbook New Japan tag match to me. And like you said, QT was very, very fun in his role. So I thought the goal was accomplished here, man. And I gave it 3.5 stars also.
Yeah, like you talk about though, the crowd was hot for this one, and it felt special whilst we were there. What do you think of the commentary choice? Because I think when I saw Kevin Kelly, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I thought it was genius. I really loved it. And I love Taz's inclusion also because he kind of wrestled a Japanese wrestling style. So he kind of, he talked about, he did a really good job going back and forth with Kevin Kelly. And of course, Excalibur was going to be there because he's also been doing an awesome job this entire build of trying to keep everybody up to date as best he can with the hectic pace they send everything at him. So I thought it was cool, and I didn't mind having the other people coming in with like a revolving door, you know what I'm saying? I thought it worked really nice, actually, as the night went on. But I love that Kevin Kelly was here because I think he helped explain a lot for people who had no clue about the New Japan talent.
Yeah.
We definitely that.
Yeah.
I also think as well, and this is something that Gina pointed out that I thought was quite good, is that when it came to sort of the commentators and sort of them kind of dipping in and out, I thought it worked really well. We all know that JR is suffering quite a bit with illness and stuff. So to know that, they're giving breaks in between and switching around, I think that works well. It just means we get, a multiple different viewpoint from different commentators. But I also agree that I really enjoyed having Kevin Kelly on commentary. He knows a lot about the Japanese wrestlers, and so for someone like me who's not very accustomed to it, I thought he did really well in explaining kind of history, background, in wrestling, and just kind of what these wrestlers have been through.
Yeah, and it's
and
crazy.
Their current storylines too. He kept their current storylines relevant also, which was kind of a great way to kind of lead people into watching New Japan after this.
And how giddy he was to be there. He was so happy.
Yes.
And what I liked, even towards the end, obviously, he was getting into the AEW storylines. He was going, oh, don't forget, this
right.
Wednesday. Kevin, it's not your job. It's crazy to think, 25 years ago, he was doing Raw, with JR and being called a hermaphrodite by The Rock a couple of years later, that's insane, dude, But I enjoyed that. 3.5. Gina, what would you score that out of 5?
I would give it like a 3.5. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that as well. So we're going to get on to the AEW Prediction League. And at the moment, the scores Gina and Monty haven't got a win yet. Jaxie's on 1 and I'm a lead with 2. But like I said, there's a point on the line today. Predictions, we all went chaos, so it is 1-0 to everyone. And poll-wise, 82% for the faces there. And then up next, I fucking hate when WWE used to do it, and AEW did it. They chucked a match that we didn't know, Lance Archer versus Nick Morotto. They didn't have a ton of work, time to work, but then again, they only probably found out about the match about 5 minutes beforehand. Archer was able to pick up the win with a blackout finisher and a little bit of a dodgy spot on top, but to get the job done. Again, Monty, what do you think of Archer? Because it's like when New Japan are sniffing around and like, oh no, he's a big deal in AEW.
Right. Yeah, it's true. He's a completely different animal in New Japan. Like I promise, like in New Japan, the crowds are like all afraid of him. He's a big psycho. Like it's crazy how different his presentation has been in AEW, and some of that is due to a lot of times that they kind of just let him lose in these situations and not look so dominating. But in New Japan, oh my God, he's a different type of monster. He's gonna be in the big man block, so I didn't mind the match, even though I was, I'm just like you. I don't like these. Last minute just additions. But I didn't mind it because it sounded like as they continued on, this was a showcase for Archer because they knew he was going into the G1. So I accepted that, and I gave it 3.25. But it's a shame, we don't see Camarado enough to even give him a chance in them situations. He's a big guy, so you want to give him a shot against another big guy, but not really.
I could just picture JR's commentary of just going, "That's a big hoss. He's a big guy. He's got potential. If he put everything together, that big man, just Jaxie, what do you think?
I must admit, though, and this isn't meant to offend Lance Archer, but when you see him on AEW, he doesn't quite get the same pop as what he did when he came out during this showing. So it was quite interesting to see, and both men went hard. But I do agree with you guys. I got a little annoyed that this match was just impromptu added. First of all, because I was like, well, neither of us are going to get any fucking points for this now, are we? But, and I'm competitive. I want to win at this shit. But secondly, I was like, why couldn't you have let us know this beforehand? To hype it up even more on our podcast, but also to kind of really give both wrestlers a decent chance at announcing it so other people can know that they're being featured. So, yeah, it was a bit annoying, but the match itself was good.
Yeah, well, like I said, the email that I got afterwards as well of you did forget this match during it. It's like, we were doing it fucking live. How close can we do it? Well, we've just had an announcement.
None of us were looking at social media whilst we were on this live podcast, so sorry, dudes.
What would you score that out of 5 anyway?
I'm going to give it a 3 just because of it was very impromptu. But that being said, if we could have chosen, I would have gone with Lance Archer as the winner.
Yeah. Gina, what would you score that out of 5?
I also gave it a 3. Not that it was really bad for me at all, but because I didn't know about it, I wasn't as invested in it. So it was like toilet break territory a little bit for me. So a 3.
I cannot wait for Archer versus Jonah in the G1. That is going to be something special. 3 for me. Predictions and polls, non-applicable because they hate us. Mini Adam Page was interviewed. Clark Connors, meaning business here tonight. And then we had Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee facing Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. Swerve and Lee spent more time on the defense than offense, but the announcer made sure to mention their recent communication issues as a possible reason. And he even showed a clip from, I think, Dark, which I didn't know they were having problems. I think, Jaxie, you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, they actually are miscommunicating. It wasn't just a Battle Royal thing. But obviously we're not seeing that on Dynamite. It's a bit of a shame. But looked like Swerve and Desperado were the stars of this match and the best exchange out of the different possible combinations. Last few minutes were the best part of this. Lee and Swerve were able to secure the win for Hobbs and Starks, taunted them from the crowd. So I will say, Gina, what do you think of the match? And 3 minutes of screen time for Ricky Starks. What are we going to do about it?
It's absolutely criminal, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, I think that AEW need to hurry up and do this tag match between Swerve and Lee with Hobbs and Stark because it's been going on a while now. So I think they just need to hurry up and get to this match now. I wasn't that disappointed because I wasn't expecting to see Starks on the show at all anyway, so it's a nice little surprise.
I screamed my ear off. Thank you.
I just wasn't prepared to see him. I had to check myself in the mirror like he was there. It was good. It was a good match, and I was entertained throughout. Part of me was, are we still kind of planning on the turn between Swerve and Lee? I'm glad we're not doing that because I think they're stronger as a tag team right now. And in terms of singles runs, I don't think that with the amount of talent we have in AEW, they've got any kind of scope in the singles at the moment. So I think they should just remain as a tag. But it was a good match either way. And I just hope Ricky more time rather than, little slot on Rampage this week.
Well, like I said, we've been waiting for that match for the longest time, kind of. And it's weird we talk about Swerve and Lee because these two could be main event talent. We talked about it when they were in NXT or WWE, And now it's even weirder. It's like, well, AEW's so stacked, they're just going to have to wait their turn. So, what? It's just kind of the same thing now. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really odd. Speaking of
Yeah,
odds,
exactly. It's just
yeah, Desperado's one strange guy.
yeah,
Weird.
definitely
like the
a strange
splits.
guy. It was really interesting to see him. I didn't know what to make.
I liked it. I mean,
He's awesome, bro.
Whiskey on the way to the ring, Monty. That thing that he normally does, is it with Whiskey?
The splits.
I'm just saying
Conor Morrow. Yes. The Sartorius. Yes, Conor Morrow Sartorius Surprise. It literally has a name. That's one. He is called the heel master for that reason. He spits liquor in his opponent's faces when need be. They won plenty of championships with the way they almost won this match with that false finish. They just wrestled so smart, man, too, in this match. They went after. I told you guys they're not ready for anybody Keith Lee size, right? But what did they do? They take out his legs, like just so smart, and they brought him down to their side, and actually were believable for a second. So I thought they got a good chance. I thought they did a good time showing that they are an awesome team. But yes, he brings the liquor out for every match, and Despy does the splits for every entrance. So
All right,
yes,
I was wondering.
That's what they do.
I was wondering, and the other thing as well, I don't know if it's me, but Keith Lee, I don't know what it is with him at this moment in time, and it might be just my opinion on it, but I just feel he's not giving everything. Yeah, and I might be wrong, but even in this matchup, I mean, we did get the first holy shit moment though with Swerve's foot stomp on Desperado whilst he hung on the ropes, which is good. But
awesome.
I may be wrong. Gina, what would you score that out of 5?
I'll give it a 4, but that is slightly biased because I got a little clip of my man at the end.
Monty, what about you?
Oh no, don't feel bad. I'm in the same boat, man. This is excellent stuff for me. I gave it 4 stars. This is an early highlight, man. That last sequence, like you said, the double stomp, but like he did like a leg sweep before that, then he thrust kick, and then he did a double stomp. Like the whole sequence was insane to finish off that match. So I just thought it was awesome, and I thought New Japan still looked good, even though they were junior heavyweights in there with Keith Lee, and so I really was impressed by it. So it really, left a positive impression on me. 4 stars.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I actually really enjoyed the match. Like you guys said, I agree. It really did pick up towards the end. And I just feel like not just Desperado, but Swerve really shone in that match. Like it really made me sort of like intrigued to see him, get a bit higher. I think he really needs a push. Like every time this man is in a ring, he's like making me just be like, oh my gosh. Like he's so talented. I want to see him more. So 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 3/4 out of 5. Really, really good stuff, though. Predictions all Swerve in our glory, so we are all 2-0 against, well, nobody at the moment. Polls, Swerve, 65%. The final buy-in match was an 8-man tag bout with Max Caster and the Gun Club taking on Yuri Uemura, Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight. Austin and Colton end up running backstage to look for Danhausen after he talked to them from the big screen. And this allowed the NJPW Stars to get an early 4-on-2 advantage. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Caster and Billy were able to get some offense here. It wasn't much in their underdogs, but as soon as Billy's kids ditched them, however, Caster and Billy were able to make a comeback and get the win with the mic drop. But every time I see this team, I just think, ass boys. I just can't help it. And Shibata's balls as well. Jaxie, what do you think of this match?
I mean, I think it was just quite a bit of fun. Personally, I would have probably put Keith Lee and Swerve's match as the main event and had that sort of like end the buy-in leading into the pay-per-view. I didn't hate this match though. I thought it was good. It did what it needed to do. I'm just a bit bitter because that was my first loss.
Yes, it was. He was right. I hate saying it, but he was. I will say Knight's vertical leap is incredible. The way he hits the drop kick, I've seen him on Strong doing here. And Alex is one of my hidden gems. I love the mustache, but again, he's got so much incredible strength. And I didn't think in 2022, in the Forbidden Door, Billy Gunn would look as good as he has done in decades. The match built around father and son, and Billy's hot tag was fantastic. I'm going to give that a 3.5 out of 5. Jaxie, what would you score that?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5.
Gina?
I also went with, well, I put 3 3/4.
Monty?
Although I'm mad that I got that loss.
Yeah, I thought this was fine, and I gave it 3 stars. Like you said, once Billy got in there and kind of destroyed everybody, it really kind of got me on my feet. That was very, very nice to see. And again, I remember Billy as being big, but I guess it's really good to put it in perspective just how big Billy has always been when you watch him in the ring with some of the talent that wrestles now. Like, man, he's always just huge. But yeah, he was definitely bigger than these kids.
That's what, you talk about, people changing the industry and, different wrestlers coming through. Shawn Michaels was small at 6'1", and you think about it.
Right. Exactly.
Now. But no, like I said, really, really fun stuff. But every time I hear Dojo, I will think losers. Monty did go to Gun Club. The rest went Dojo. So Monty takes a lead. 3-2 to 2.
The young boy.
He is the New Japan expert. All right, let's
Could have known.
Poll wise, 51% ass boys, and we move on to the main card. I was expecting an opening video, or Monty, how about a New Japan style hype of matches? How good would that have been?
Yeah, it would have been nice. Yeah, that's fair.
Even the king of sports, or something like that. Just
yeah. But as you will notice, I think they really heard people complaining about the last show because they were moving. Like, you could just tell they were on to the next match. Come on, let's get this over. They were not doing all of that, dragging that happened in the last pay-per-view.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we got straight onto it. We did have Justin Roberts and the New Japan ring announcer there as well. Judas was sung, but Naoya Suzuki was loved by the fans, giving a loud reaction and singing part of his song. What part of the song were they singing?
Kaza ni Nare, which I think is like translate to lonely warrior or something like that. But it's a nice part that goes into the song. Everyone chants it when they were allowed to in Japan. So I have to see my translation right. I could be completely wrong, but either way it goes, Kaza ni Nare.
Yeah, I love it, but every time I do it, I always get the words wrong. It doesn't matter. It ends up being like Naze, but I'm enjoying it no matter what. It's good stuff. But Babyface team with Shota Umino making his AEW debut, and they show a clip where Jericho slapped Shooter, who is the son of Red Shoes referee, and Jericho gave him the Walls of Jericho. You could tell it was years ago because Jericho had his little pants that we've not seen in a
long time.
Long time. Of course,
look how small Shota was back then, though. Also, totally different guy about to come through this country.
Well, Wheeler Yuta was the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. They're just reminding us of that. And Eddie Kingston, of course, got a massive reaction leading to this 6-man contest. Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Suzuki, Kingston, Yuta, and Umino. And I'll tell you what, I was not expecting this. This match was a fight from the moment the bell rang. They barely tried to use tags and make this a traditional bout within the first few minutes. Everyone eventually settled in their corners and started obeying the rules. Well, saying that is a bit of a stretch. Conti interfered by hitting Umino with a bat, but it barely slowed him down. It took several super kicks from Guevara and a headbutt from Suzuki to get him to release a Boston Crab on Jericho. Sweet revenge. And when the dust settled, Jericho hit the Judas effect on Umino to get the win. But I am not giving this kind of justice at this moment in time because you had the crowds on their feet with consecutive Germans just to start, And Shooter, what a star. Monty, this was everything we could hope it could be. It surpassed what I was hoping for.
Yes, definitely. And also it was long-term storytelling, like I said, with that old Wrestle Kingdom footage of that fateful night. And Shoulder's been on excursion for a while in Revolution Pro. Just picking up his craft, which is where the young lions go after they're graduated from the school. They go and they travel and work with other promotions. So you can just see all the work he's been putting into his body and like the way he wrestled here, man, he showed, like you said, so much heart. This match was all about showcasing Shota and Yuta, like you said, and I really loved that Suzuki, Jericho, and even Sammy Guevara. You got Sammy Guevara also got a little bit of shine also, but I really think they all tried their best. Eddie Kingston too, to just make the young guys look awesome here. So this was just fun, man, and he's to see where Shota is at. And to see how popular he is already over in the States and all that. And he hasn't even made his debut or his return to New Japan. So the future is very, very bright for Shooter. So, this was great.
Yeah, this was what a fucking opener was one of my notes. And I wouldn't mind watching a 10-minute chopping match with Suzuki and Eddie. Because
Suzuki looked like a menace too, and I just love that because everyone needs to know he is a sadistic old man. This is what he does. He causes pain, and Kingston is a psycho also. So that was just awesome. And I would look, like you said, I wrote that down. Please give me Suzuki and Kingston 1-on-1 at some point.
Yeah,
they were just chopping the fuck out of each other, weren't they, Jaxie?
yeah. I mean, I had a note written down next to this that it said, "Don't fuck with Suzuki. He looks like a yakuza." So clearly, like the way he came out made me feel like he should be like heading up one of the members of the yakuza family or something. Like I definitely was like, don't want to get on the wrong end of the stick with him. Seeing him and Eddie like chop off with one another was one of the most entertaining ways to open up a pay-per-view event. I definitely agree with Monty. I'll throw my money at it. Give me a one-on-one match between these two because it was amazing. But I was so impressed with Shota. I was like, who is this guy? I was so excited watching him go. He had so much potential, and I really enjoyed listening to Kevin Kelly kind of give us a lot of a rundown about Shota and about, the fact that he's got this sort of issue with Jericho, or Jericho's got an issue with him. So it kind of made me get a little bit excited in thinking, are we going to see more between Shota and Jericho? And again, we'll definitely be touching on this a hell of a lot further as the matches go on. But I was just left reeling, wanting to see more of Shota. So I think they did really well. And like Monty said as well, I just want to point out, Wheeler Yuta in the ring was just in his element. I loved hearing the pop he was getting from the crowd. I think he's getting really over with the crowd. He's definitely winning me over. He just improves continuously in the ring. And I just felt that aggression. I felt that since he's joined the Combat Club, that there's just so much more of a fire in him, and it just leaves me excited to see his next match, So, yeah, I was really impressed with this opening match.
Even with Suzuki and Jericho in it, and with all respect to them as kind of workers and what they've done, to be this bloody enjoyable was a miracle. Like, it was, like, the young guys were just fire throughout. I gave it a 4.25 out of 5. Jaxie, what do you score it?
I gave it a 4.25.
Gina?
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. I was really impressed, and it was really helpful for me, who isn't big on the New Japan scene, to see that the previous clip between Jericho and Shota, because I then already knew going into this match there was more beef between those two as well. So it was really nice to see that from like a new New Japan fan, I guess. So yeah, I gave it a 4.5. Shota really impressed me, and I'd seen Suzuki in a couple of matches on AEW already, and he impressed me then. So I already knew I was going to get a wicked match from him here. So 4.5 is definitely worth it.
Yeah, that Monty.
This was incredible. It was chaos, like a lot of their 6-mans in New Japan can't get, with all the action going on at the same time. Shota looked relentless. I thought no one came away from this situation looking like a loser, and they added heat going into Blood and Guts. This was incredible work. 4.25.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Set the bar extraordinarily high. I've got to say, the buy-in is probably one of the best buy-ins AEW have done, because there was no fucking around to cut the promos, but like, it's straight into matches. makes that hour fly by. And even, Gene, I think you mentioned you can either go make yourself a sandwich or, a cup of tea during the match and not really miss a lot, in a way, because you're thinking, right, we can sit down, watch your main card. Then it starts with this, and you're just like, fuck me. Prediction-wise, we all went in the hills. So Monty's in the lead 4-3-3-3. Poll-wise, the Sex Gods got 53%. And up next, this came earlier than expected, but I'm not complaining. The Ring of Honor and IWGP tag titles on the line with Pongy Vice versus United Improvisers FTR. And Dax Harwood and Trent Beretta started as illegal men. So Jeff Cobb and Great Khan had to sit on the sidelines at first. A few minutes into the match, Harwood was escorted to the back. So it looked like he'd suffered an injury. When he returned, his shoulder was wrapped up. Not a real injury or adding to the matchup. But he went hard. This match had a lot of moving parts, and they had to improvise, I guess, due to what happened with Harwood. But it never felt like any team was contributing less than the others. After several close calls, FTR was able to win and had their third set of tag titles to their collection. And yes, they are 7-time champs now. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, AAA, Ring of Honor, and WGP. What an accomplishment. Gina, what do you think of this match?
I thought this match was so good. There were so many different spots that there's just too many to choose out from, to single out. I think if you haven't seen this match, you really need to go and see it. It's just one of those ones that I just couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Every time I blinked, something else was happening, and it just kept you on your toes and showed you that you were really in for a really good pay-per-view event. I was impressed by all of the teams as well. It really just opened up my eyes in terms of the New Japan tag team as well. And I was just like, shit, if these guys are this good, then how good are others, So definitely was happy with the result of this match, though.
Yeah, without doubt. Jeff Cobb, I don't know if he's related to Rhino in any way, but he gives him a run for his money in width.
He's not.
Why, doesn't he? He does.
It's just the width of that man's chest is incredible.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say that in a sentence.
That's what I'm going to see now. That's what I'm going to see.
But it really was. And I'll tell you something else, right? Talk about technical wrestlers, what it is. No, give me Great O'Khan. The man is a legend. And I know that word gets used a lot, right? But just for social media, he is gold, right? Just for that. Anybody who doesn't know, follow him. He's a legend. Yeah. But his bumping around made me laugh out loud, the way he was doing. And then the other thing that made me howl with laughter was when they weren't being tagged in, he didn't care. He was just leaning against that ring post, just chilling out. It's like, could you be better? How long? I want Great O'Khan in my life, Monty. That's what I'm asking you. Has he always been this cool? And he's a real life fucking hero.
Right. So like he's another one of those guys who around the time I was watching Shota Umino as a young lion. Oda was also a young lion. That was his formula. It's what he used to go by before he went by the Great O'Khan. And he just, I don't know what happened. He came off an excursion with this new character. It's definitely completely different. His interest is unlike anything else in New Japan. He makes weird noises when he wrestles. He does the Mongolian chops. Like this is what I love the most about him. He's not afraid to be completely different from anything you've ever seen before. And there's not that many wrestlers out here. There's a lot of wrestlers out here who are, just carbon copies of a lot of things we've already seen. Great O'Khan is like nothing you've ever seen before. Please check out more of his work. The work he's done over the last few years. He's only getting more comfortable, James. That's the thing. Like he's still new. Gold. But he has figured out exactly what he want to do. And him being in the United Empire with Will Ospreay, with Jeff Cobb, he's the one who speaks for them in Japan. And oh my goodness, if you ever get a chance to watch any of the comments translated and subtitled and just listen to his promos. He's just an absolute legend the way he talks to people. He's been this way from the start, James, and like I said, he's only getting started.
Honestly, he's money for me. I just could watch him all day long. But we'll go scores here. I thought this was good. There was a referee blunder in this, so I will score it a 4. Jaxie, what will you score this? And also, I was thinking about FTR. They've got to be top 5 good guys in the entire wrestling world right now.
I mean, hell yeah. Like, this is coming from personal experience, but when FTR was it the Revival? Mm-hmm. Was that their name in WWE?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
Yes.
I must admit, I'd never seen them on NXT. I only got back into wrestling, like I said, when it came to the female Royal Rumble in 2018. So I missed a lot of sort of runs in NXT before they came up to the main roster. So for me, I always remember thinking when I saw the Revival, they're just a joke team, They're just a joke team. They don't have anything special. Oh my gosh, has AEW proved me wrong since actually them getting hold of FTR? They are so incredibly awesome. They've got so much talent. And I was just really excited at the prospect of them kind of being three-way champs in 3 different promotions. And I was like, I need to watch all 3 promotions just to see their matches, They've just left me feeling very sort of, I didn't know how anyone was going to top that because I was already on a hype when they won. So, it was a really great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, I will say with that as well, it's interesting, like, we had Double or Nothing last month, and of course, with AEW pay-per-views, you get less than WWE, but, you got Forbidden Door this month as well, Ring of Honor pay-per-view next month, and then you look, maybe just, you're paying, well, Monty definitely is, like $50 a month trying to watch just AEW stuff, so it's interesting, it's not oversaturation, because obviously it's working at this moment in time. And like I said, it was an enjoyable match. Gina, what would you score that?
I would give that a 4.5 as well. I really enjoyed it.
Monty, what about you?
Yeah, man, it turned into an incredible match, man. I thought the way the injury spot played out kind of put doubts in your head for FTR, so it actually added pressure, and it even made not only the United Empire but Roppongi Vice seem like more of a threat. And there was plenty of little spots in there where I thought they had a chance to win. So I thought everybody did good. I gave it 4.25.
All good stuff there. Predictions, we all went FTR. So it's still Monty in the lead. 5-4-4-4. Poll-wise, FTR 88%. United Empire 12%. It means Roppongi Vice got 0 points. There was a backstage...
Makes sense.
I tell you something, because I've been worked by Japan. Because I thought that Juice thing was like, oh, this is... a little bit of gossip, and I was like, they fucking got me because Juice Robinson's there with the US title, and I'm like, you bastards. We talk about a backstage interview. Alongside Juice Robinson was the world champ Jay White. He said he will beat Cole Page and Okada the same night at the same time, and he said it's the Switchblade era, and it is just too sweet. Like I said, Juice mixing real life and work. He's got me twice this year because he was going to retire from New Japan, Monty, weren't he, earlier in the year, and then shows up part of the Bullet Club. He keeps fucking me.
He's just a liar.
Well, he did it. He pulled a Mark Henry.
I mean, what's the quickest way to try to not be a babyface after you've been a babyface for a long time? Just start lying to the fans.
Yeah.
Blatantly. Just lie.
I'm such a mark, do you know? I really am. Can't help myself. We move on to the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. Pac versus Malachi Black versus Miro versus Clark Connors. And Black and Pac paired up to fight while Miro took on Connors. But those pairings did not last forever. When she saw them begin to switch and work together at times to take out the bigger threat. This match had a little bit of everything without anything feeling out of place. That's the usual stuff you expect from a 4-man contest, but the skill of the 4-man involved helped make it feel a little bit more improvised than maybe some matches where they're kind of waiting for the spots. Connors got a huge pop when he put Miro through a table with his spear. The crowd chanted his name for a bit, but Pac taking him out put a stop to that after hitting Black 50, Pac locked Connors in a brutalizer to win his very first championship in AEW. And I will say it's not Millie Adam Page anymore. It is Clark Connors. Jaxie, what do you think of this?
I mean, it was a great match. It was just like, it was oh God, I just don't even know where to begin with this match. I think that everyone had such great spots. I have to actually give a shout out to the sort of teamed up attack that they did on Miro. Like kind of getting him out into the onto the ground outside of the mat, and then Clark Connors coming in with that massive like spear into the table and stuff. It was like a great spot, and really kind of showcased Clark well, because throughout part of the match I'm there going, Clark Connors just getting beat on, man. Like, are you sure he should have been added to this match? It also kind of made me miss the fact that we did not get Ishii and Miro facing off. Oh God, that would have been so fucking awesome. However, I hope that we will get that one-on-one at some point. But Clark Connors, he really got like a great reception, especially when he kind of went on his run. And that intrigues me to him more, because then we actually got to see a bit of like his strengths, his talent. And he's definitely one that went in the underdog and probably came out with a lot more respect from the fans that maybe didn't know him. So I definitely think it was good, but I have to actually just preach that the first ever Orly champ is from the UK. I couldn't have been prouder.
No, without a doubt. And what we talk about there, even the story in a match where Connor's not even be able to get 2 punches in a row against Miro at the start, to be able to put him through a table was enough accomplishment. We thought he's been put in there to take the pin, but it's like, fucking taking Miro out, fair play. It's not going to end well for you. But
I mean, if Clark Connors wasn't on the phone to his mum after that match, being like, "Mum, did you see that?" I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, just don't watch the end.
Yeah.
Miro was the crowd's choice, I think. But like you said, Jaxie, it's great to see Pac finally get his moment. What do you score that out of 5?
I mean, I gave it a 4 3/4. I really enjoyed this match, and I was just, I might be biased, but I was screaming the place down when Pac won. I'm so pleased for him. He deserves the title. He deserves a title run, and I'm just glad that someone's acknowledging his talent, because he's so extremely talented.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I gave it 4.5, but I kind of want to say 4 3/4 now, because remembering this match, it was just so good. All 4 of them really impressed me, including Clark. Again, I didn't really have that much of an investment in him, but I will remember him after this match because he really made a statement. Love seeing Miro as well, but just seeing Pac versus Malachi Black always excites me. Always excites me. And I'm just so excited that Pac got it. Like my sister said, he deserves the title run. And I hope he has a nice long run with this belt, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty?
This match was incredible, man. And what I think the true genius of this match is that everyone who we all knew, like Pac, Miro, Malachi, the people that we knew, still looked awesome in the match, like looked like badasses in the match, and they looked like badass after this also. And then they also found the time to not only keep all of them looking good, but to elevate Clark Connors in the eyes of many, and like seeing tweets and seeing so many people talk about, oh my God, I love this Clark Connors kid. Oh my God, he's special. Seeing all those people, start to talk about it on social media while this was live going on, for me was really one of the things that really made this stick out to me and made it really special. And also, once again, to remind you guys just how important these picks going into these shows are. I was so pissed at Malachi for using the miss on Miro. Oh my God, I screamed at my computer. I felt like if he wasn't gonna tap there, I knew he wouldn't win it. So when Malachi did it, I was like, God damn it! But I was so happy. I had mixed feelings. I'm like, Pac deserved it. Like, no one deserves it more. Like, I get it. I have no problem with that. So I was happy to be wrong here. But man, I was so pissed at that moment. 4 1/4 though. I give it 4 1/4. This is awesome, man.
Well, yeah, we have to mention it. you could see what it meant to Pac. That's what I like the most.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. He was fired up.
definitely.
But like I said, predictions, we all went Pac apart from Monty. So how's that change? Well, everybody now is on 5. So it's 5 to
The dumb
everyone.
American.
Well, hey.
I'd like to think that you should trust us Brits a little bit more often, Monty.
Well,
see.
his poll, Miro came out on top with 37, Black with 34, Pac with 29, so it's pretty close. Clark with 0, so maybe that will change next time.
Aww. But to be fair, I can see that why no one probably went for Clark just because he was a last minute add-in. So I doubt that many people really thought he had much chance at winning.
Exactly. Yeah, people, should be on the Twitter going, did you mean like Ishii? No, they changed it already, don't worry. We've got the Bullet Club versus the Dudes with Attitudes. Now, can I say I love the name Dudes with Attitudes? It just works in so many ways. And even, I think it was Kevin Kelly explaining the origin. No, Tony Schiavone explaining how far back it went with that name as well.
Yeah.
Of course, joined the commentary. Like I said, a revolving door of people. I think Tony only come out here to just say, it's Sting! Even he mentioned that. That's what he gets paid for. But we get the Young Bucks and Al Phantasmo taking on Sting, Darby Allin and Shingo Takagi in the trios. With nothing but pride on the line. But as the Bullet Club came out, we had no Sting. And then Sting, of course, this is a pay-per-view, had to die. Fucking, I would ask for my money back if 61-year-old Sting didn't dive off something on a big AEW show.
And he's always more or less safe, too. It's nothing scary yet. You know what I mean? He's always hit the mark.
Yeah, but still, my heart can't take it though. When I see him go up high, I don't know what it is in me, but I'm like, no, get off of that Sting, get off.
I don't know if you guys were the same, but when I first saw him up in the rafters, I thought, not from there.
Yeah, I know. It was a little bit scary. I was like, oh my gosh, don't tell me he's all the way up there. Thankfully, he wasn't.
Yeah, God almighty. Luckily, he didn't do that double or nothing. But like I said, this match, the crowd was hyped for it. After that dive, and it kind of set the tone for the rest, even though no one observed the rules. But this was kind of running theme of the night. Hikuleo interfered on behalf of the Bullet Club, but the ref was distracted at the time, and Sting was able to quickly recover, make a hot tag into the match. Sting no selling is one thing, but everybody else recovered from big spots a little too quickly. But Takagi was able to get the win for his team. But what I will say, Monty, not just for this match, but Shingo was the man last year, so it's a bit weird to see him in this position,
Yeah, they mentioned he was the MVP of 2021 in Tokyo Sports for New Japan. He was the MVP, he was the man, he was the world champion. He was in the, Okada Jay White spot. So, yeah, I understand from we would want a guy like Shingo to be doing something meaningful. But again, with the way this card was put together, with all the things they went through to even get everybody situated, I will give them a pass this time for maybe not getting a big time rivalry or match to put him in on the same level of an Osprey or like I just mentioned Jay White or Okada. So maybe in due time. But Shingo already has a fan base in America, as you guys heard there. So Shingo, wrestled in PWG in the past. So he is a lot of people are well aware of just how good he is. But yeah, I think he deserves way more exposure because, like you mentioned, he held them down through some tough times with New Japan. And he was the consistent superstar, my superstar of the year, basically, last year. So, yeah, I don't know what we could talk about going forward for Shingo when it comes to this, but I was still happy to see him looking strong here.
Oh, without a doubt, like I said, and even I maybe, didn't follow the Bucks during the kind of, the Ring of Honor days, but to see the Ring of Honor old Bullet Club gear, it's a tremendous callback for people, especially seeing it. I will say with El Phantasmo as well, I mean, I used to dislike when they
I
did the
love
back
ELP,
rakes. Yeah, I used to hate the back rakes, but I just think he's got so much bounce and he's so talented. That's what makes it so stupid and entertaining now. You know?
Yes, I love it. Him and then like with him and his partner in New Japan, Taiji Ishimori, they do it together. So it's just so obnoxious. And just like everything he does is to just get under people's skin. I promise you, he's just like the greatest. And I'm saying this in like for his character. He is the definition of like a douchebag. He is Kenny Williams, scum of the earth levels.
Yeah.
This
I
character.
smell what you're cooking.
You know exactly what I
Yeah.
mean if you watched him. So you got to see a little bit there in this match.
Yeah, but again, really, really good stuff in this one. Monty, what would you score that out of 5?
Let's see. What did I put down? I put 4 stars. Yeah, I thought this was fun. Like we mentioned earlier, it had some funny moments here. Of the nipple twisting, weird but still hilarious because it's so random. That spot sticks out to me.
I was going to mention Sting only missed one spot in this entire match, and that was the bit where he went outside the ring to and he said, "No, go back and nipple cripple."
Yeah.
LP, which
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Nick Jackson, and you could just see Nick Jackson was like, get back in the ring. But you know what? I wasn't even mad at that. I wasn't even mad that he missed that spot. Like, think of his age, and also think of how much he was taking from people. You know, he literally was just taking all these bumps. He dived off the top right at the very beginning. Man's missed a spot. Left him to it. Okay, he's 63. For God's sake, give him a break.
He took 2 super kicks and just screamed it off you know.
You gotta love it.
He was insane.
Yeah, I will say, I know, like we could argue or not, you know, different people's booking in AEW, but Sting, when it comes to the matches, they pick spots perfectly. You know, they really, really do. I'm gonna give that a 4 as well. Jaxie, what would you score out of 5?
I mean, I'm going to give that a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. I just was, I think for me, my heart palpitations for Sting was just going constantly. But he just had such a great match. So yeah, 4.25.
And Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I have a 4 for this match. Really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Predictions. Well, this is the part that everybody hates.
Here we go.
James went the dudes. The rest went Bullet Club.
Good job.
So,
right,
yes.
James, honestly, I saw red, right? Because I remembered that you went with the dudes, and I was like, oh, fuck you, James.
I'm going to save that as my ringtone or message. Every time I get a message, be Jackson going, fuck you, James. And I'm just gonna
Those last 2 matches was my question mark, though. I knew when I picked them, I'm like, I don't know if these are going to work out, but I'm trying.
I knew I had already lost this match the minute Sting jumped off the top.
That's true, too. Yeah. The more Sting, the more spots Sting had, the less I was like, it's over.
Yeah. But the thing is, I like Tony Khan building this pay-per-view for our predictions. You know, because like I said, Monty's in the lead. We're level. I'm in the lead now. How can it change? Like, thanks, Tony. You're setting up the card. He's 17 match swing at the moment. Poll-wise, the dudes with 57%. And then we see Shooter interviewed by Tony Schiavone backstage, but Jericho interrupted, along with his cronies. Of course, Chris threw a fireball in Unamo's face because Jericho's a wizard. The lone women's match was next. AEW Women's Championship, Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm. Of course, both of these women have reputations for being great workers, so they made sure to test the limits with some fast-paced exchanges early on in the match. They were up for the challenge. They made very few errors, if any, but in a somewhat surprising conclusion, Rosa couldn't get the job done with a Thunder Fire Driver, but retained with one of Dustin Rhodes' signature spinning suplexes. They shook hands when it was all over. Thoughts in this match. First off, like Rose's gear was incredible. But Gina, I asked you what you thought of the match, and I asked you, I got annoyed during this because everybody just in the crowd, the majority were like, drinks break. The amount of people moving or empty seats during this was quite off-putting in the first 5 minutes.
I mean, if I'm truly honest, I didn't notice, but that was because I was just focused on the match entirely. But it is disheartening to see that, and it's hard because you want everyone to, get their breaks as well, because it is a long show. But it's also like, could you have not done that sort of in between the matches, or, So I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a good match, shortest match on the card, but still good. Gina, what would you score out of 5?
I've given it 4.
Giving it 4, yeah. Stuff. Jaxie, what are you going to score out of 5? What do you think's next for Toni Storm as well?
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I'm not going to say that it was the greatest of matches. I still believe that Thunder Rosa had a better match with Serena Deeb. That being said, Toni Storm kicked out of quite a few spots that I didn't think that she was going to kick out of. So, I was impressed with her tenacity, but I also really I just couldn't see this kind of change, the title changing hands at this point. And I was actually thinking about, what I see going forward for Toni Storm. And, right now, it sounds really bad, but I just see her more maybe becoming sort of a tag team wrestler at this point in time, just because I don't feel like she should be instantly thrown into the TBS title. But I also don't want to see a rematch between both Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm at this point. She got a clean win against Toni Storm. And I do believe that she either should work her way up. I don't want to see Toni Storm in another feud with Britt either. So yeah, maybe do some tag team with her for a bit. And kind of let others shine. We still have Chris Statlander and Athena, who have both come in, who I believe both of them deserve sort of title shots. I mean, from their talent. So I'd like to see those two getting more of a push in sort of the title pictures at this point in time. I'm going to give it a 3 3/4. I thought it was a good match. I just, I kind of felt like this was predictably coming, that Thunder Rosa was going to win it. So.
Yeah, no, I go a 3.95 as well. I still think it was good, but maybe a little bit more time. Monty, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. It kind of finished, out of nowhere. But it was physical, and I thought their facial expressions were awesome. Like, they really were into what they were doing, and they were, you could tell they were being physical. You could see the way that the story they were trying to tell here, and they were kind of like fighting like their lives were on the line here. So, like, even if the fans were being disrespectful, you couldn't tell by watching them. I did see some shots after this, like, going viral online, of just how much moving around and how empty the seats was. And like you said, it's such a shame to see, because as soon as Tony or AEW is doing something wrong with the women's division, a lot of people have something to say. And then when you put women's wrestling out there, then you get responses like that. It's just really disheartening. But you try to ignore that and just move on. I still think this was a strong match. I'm not really into that finish of Thunder Rosa's beating everyone with her finisher, and then she uses Dustin's move. Even though I understand how important Dustin is to her, or whatever has been to her in training and all that. So I understand it, but at the same time, I wasn't really a fan of needing that move to finish her, and you couldn't finish her with your own stuff. But I guess that was a way of protecting Toni. So it was still a strong match. I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, no, it was, like we said, it annoyed me that I got distracted by, I know I was trying to look at other stuff during the match as well, not just the wrestling weirdly, but to see that amount of movement. But predictions, we all went Rosa, so it is 7-6-6-6 to me. Poll-wise, Storm on 52%, actually, in that match was the favourite. And then the video package aired for Will Ospreay's match against Orange Cassidy. Jim Ross joined commentary, and Kevin Kelly and Taz both note that JR was their old boss, which is always nice to know. And then we had the IWGP US title on the line, Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay, and OC started by dodging a drop kick and hitting a shoulder tackle. For Ospreay's just his kick on his feet, as we were able to have a nice exchange of takedowns, all while Cassidy kept his hands in his pockets. Anybody expected this to be a comedy match was probably surprised to see both men take it so seriously. Other than the opening moments, Cassidy was on fire and worked harder than he had since he battled Pac. The story they told with Cassie trying to show Ospreay how good he is, and Ospreay trying to prove he was a better wrestler, was nicely executed, especially during the back half of the match. Both the action and the in-ring psychology was on point. Cassie survived several spots that seemed like they would end it, but Ospreay finally put away to get the victory. So we'll talk about that first. We'll just talk about the match. Jaxie, this was incredible. First, credit to Ospreay's gear. I mentioned Thunder Rosa. But what a fucking match. JR said Styles make matches. This was incredible.
Okay, this match was just insane. I kind of knew it was going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be that good. There were just so many spots. I've seen Will Ospreay featured, most recently on AEW, but I did not know that he was that good, If anything, he's just really kind of made me a fan of him as well. Orange Cassidy as well, just, gave off that, like a great vibe. He really worked for that match too. This match just went hard. Both men went hard, and it was really entertaining to watch. It was entertaining to kind of watch Will's boys on the outside. Is it United Empire? Is that the group name it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like his two guys like being on the outside, sort of like constantly causing distraction. It's the oldest trick in the book, but at the same time, it works when both men in the ring are actually giving it their all. It kind of makes you like really worried about what's going to go down and how and stuff. I was really blown away by this match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of my favorites of the night.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Will showed why he's one of the world's best. Monty, you made a point, I think, on the live show even before that, how Will Ospreay wanted to fight. So, I mean, people were like, why Orange Cassidy? But he wanted an AEW original. He didn't want an ex-WWE guy, did he?
Right. No, he didn't. He wanted to, to prove that he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He considered, just to test himself as a measuring stick for their promotion. He wanted an original, someone that they built from the ground up to see what they really have, from one of their day one stars, because he represents a New Japan to the fullest, and he has for a long time now. And Ospreay is just one of the best in the world. He's always been great to me. I've been spoiled. I've been able to see just how good Ospreay has been when he was a junior heavyweight. And it's funny to me, Ospreay was a junior heavyweight just a couple of years ago. So just to see how much bigger than Orange Cassidy he is now has been incredible. And if you've been watching Ospreay as long as I have, you noticed when he was like underage wrestling, and then like that kid is this guy. It's kind of amazing to see. But anyway, this match also made me realize just how much AEW has missed Orange Cassidy with his injury. You know what I mean? Because I think like his goal was to show, like you said, all the people who lump him in with just nothing serious, that no, I can really go, and I can go with someone that everyone should respect in this ring, which is a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So Orange Cassidy looks like $1 million here also, man. He looks so strong in defeat, in my opinion. And Ospreay's facial expressions when he kicked out of the Oz Cutter, when he kicked out of the Hidden Blade, you know what I'm saying? Just putting over, oh my God, this guy's tough, because Ospreay finishes people with the blade and all that. So he had to pull out the Stormbringer, which is his last, like, the thing he's won all types of championships with. So again, I know that because I've watched Ospreay for years, but to get everyone else to see that he's really putting Orange Cassidy over in this situation also, man, I just thought this was great, man. It could go forever. I gave it 4 3/4 overall.
Yeah, like I said, and what's interesting as well is Will Ospreay, how good a heel he is. I think that's something that was developed over the past couple of years, especially with maybe United Empire. Because it's all well and good being like the fun-loving babyface who can fly like he can, and even then the high-flying moves, like talk about the change in style that he's had become from the junior heavyweight to heavyweight. Yeah, and this is like the perfect wrestler. Like, he can still do the kicks and the angles and all this kind of stuff he can do. But like I said, it's the facials, it's the kind of the way they worked in this. The hand in the pocket, then pulling out a middle finger, like that's Will Ospreay. Like you talk about a choice near fall off a DDT.
He used to be kind of like, not to say he was like Ricochet, but he was portrayed in the same character as a Ricochet, just to give people reference if you don't understand. Like, he was like that as a high-flying babyface. And now to see what he was right there, that's the perfect case to show just how he's evolved. Like, he has power moves strikes, high flying. He could do it all.
Well, so even the hidden blade, that's how vicious he's kind of become
Right.
now, because that move from behind, you know. I did like Will's head coming in our house and destroying the robot camera, which Excalibur seemed really unhappy about. Like I said, it'd be interesting. I mean, Juice Robinson and Will Ospreay. The only thing I don't understand, Monty, is that they're both heels. But will it change? I don't understand. It's Bullet Club and United Empire.
It's kind of weird because really in Japan, as long as you're not the Bullet Club, the United Empire gets love in Japan. Like, there's plenty of people with United Empire titles and all that, although they are still bad guys. So it don't always work as heels and babyface. Like, for example, Suzuki Gun members, Desperado, Kanemaru, Tachi, they are baby faces really in Japan with Zack Sabre Jr. But you hear how he acted and what he was in America, because that is still very much a heel character. So it's kind of confusing, but they don't really have to stick to one role. Bullet Club is usually always the ones who are the bad guys. They're always the ones in the role.
Well, it's interesting to see, because again, you're going to turn Will like kind of face, or you just leave it like this because you can't do Juice.
No, he's going to stay completely the same. It's just he's going to get cheered because he's fighting a Bullet Club member.
That's crazy. I'm going to give it 4 3/4 out of 5 as well. Jaxie, what about you?
Did I not already give my point?
You might have done, but I've not written it down.
Okay, I gave this 4.5.
All right, awesome. And Gina?
Yeah, I gave this a 4.5 too. I think I am a newfound fan of Will Ospreay. I found that I was really excited for the match when it came out, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. So I'm definitely a new fan of his. And I feel like it probably deserves more than a 4.5, but I'll just go with that for now.
Was this your first like kind of proper Will Ospreay match of seeing him?
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen him on AEW when he was turning up those few times, but in terms of like his seriousness, it was funny to watch him get annoyed with Orange Cassidy, just like all the other wrestlers who fight him do. But in my eyes, I really enjoyed just seeing this new wrestler, and he captivated me. I don't know what it was, but I was just excited to see what move he's going to do next, because I don't know his move sets. I was curious to see what he could do, what he can't do, things like that. So, yeah, it was really exciting to see.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, like I said, predictions, you all went Will, so it's 8-7-7-7. Poll-wise, Will got 83% of the vote. And in the video I had about Bryan Danielson not being able to compete against Zack Sabre Jr., so one person that he trusts to take his place at the Forbidden Door was Zack Sabre Jr. versus, well, we had a bonus point on the line. Monty went Johnny Gargano. Oh, sorry, Monty, I didn't mean to laugh at that.
No, you're doing the right thing.
No, it shows guts, and that's going to pay off at some point. You know what I mean? Those types of not tonight, but at some point in time. So, you know. And Jaxie and Gina, you did go Cesaro. I would include that.
You better.
I was about to say, if you don't even give me this point, I was ready to actually come at you, James, because that is not fair. Okay,
I even said it when he came out, and I said to Jaxie, if James even tries to chat shit to us about saying Cesaro, I will kick off at him.
Yeah, I was ready for it. So yeah, I deserve that point.
I tell you what, then we all went Claudio, and we all got a point apart from Monty. So bonus point on top of what we could potentially get here today. Claudio Castagnoli was all elite. What a pop! Jaxie, did you lose your shit at this moment?
I mean, okay, so obviously being from the UK means that we watch at a later time. You know, there's no way I could stay up on a Sunday when I've got work the next morning. So for my sister and I, and I'd like to even think yourself, James, a lot of the time we are playing catch up the next day. So obviously that gives time for a little editing, maybe. So I was pissed, right? Because I didn't actually recognize the music, first of all, but all I'm getting is shot after shot after shot of the crowd instead of being on the entrance. And I was getting
I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, they did. Like for the audience that are watching from their TVs, and I was like, "Bitch, put it on the entrance." Like I like enjoy the excitement of what everyone else is reacting to, and instead I'm getting to see their reactions first. Like, so that annoyed me a little bit. But when they went onto the entrance and I saw it was Claudio, I was over the moon. We've been itching and waiting for this to happen. And I don't know if anyone else noticed, but did anyone else notice Claudio did sort of like address the sort of cameraman rumor by like playing around with the imaginary camera? Like that got to me. That really filled me up a little bit. So I was really, really happy. This match was really good. I really enjoyed seeing both him face Zack Sabre Jr. And I feel like we could have gotten more out of them if we gave them more time. Like I wasn't ready for the match to be over, you know? So yeah, I definitely am itching to see that there's so many dream matches I now have now that Claudio's joined AEW. I would love to, you know, potentially see a round 2 between Zack Sabre Jr. and Claudio one day.
Well, they had me at this when Cesaro came out, and I'm thinking, oh, that's great. Long trousers as it was as well. Looked in fantastic shape. And then he hit Sabre with a huge uppercut followed by neutralize, and I thought, you motherfuckers. But luckily, Zack Sabre kicked out. But I would have maybe gone, again, it was nice to see him get the shoulder up. I mean, I
would have been a bit pissed off if they did actually go that way and then just have him pinned like 1, 2, 3 straight after that. Only because I would have been like, you can't give us Claudio and then give us 20 seconds in the ring, okay? Like, give him to us.
Well, these two are great at a lot of things, but they are known as two of the best technicians in the game, and every single move they hit looked about as good as possible. These guys were operating on a different level. It's too much for actually. I would ruin the match to try and explain what went on in it. Just watch it, you know. After a fantastic sequence, Castellani won with a powerbomb to have a successful AEW debut, but just wow. I never thought I would see Cesaro versus Zack Sabre Jr., let alone in an AEW ring. This was absolutely crazy, and nice to see. It doesn't happen often. We don't mention it a lot, but it was nice to see two Brits back-to-back matches on a big pay-per-view in matches that actually mattered. You know, it's another reason to like New Japan with Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. Also, we had Pac winning earlier, so I guess we were spoiled for the amount of kind of British talent on show. But as for the match, wow. You know, Gina, what did you think of, first, Zack Sabre Jr., what were your thoughts? And then Cesaro and this whole thing.
I mean, yeah, I thought he was good. I really like his kind of cocky attitude and confidence. So I already knew that if it was going to be Cesaro coming out, he was still going to, whoever it was that was going to come out, he just had this arrogance like, yeah, I'm still going to beat him, whoever it's going to be. So I really liked that about him. And he's a good wrestler. I definitely was intrigued by him as well. Not as much as Will Ospreay, but I still am intrigued with him. And then, yeah, definitely enjoyed seeing, wait, are we addressing him as Claudio now, yeah? Not Cesaro. Don't blame me if I up.
Either or. I still call Aleister Black every now and again and get complaints.
That's fine. That's sorry in advance, guys, okay? I will get used to it at some point. But either way, I was so excited to see him, and you could just generally tell that he was so excited to be back on the scene. So I was generally happy for him watching the match, but he still looked in just as good shape. He literally was still smashing every move like he had been, you know, and he'd impressed us on WWE screens. So I just don't know why they didn't want to press further with it. I honestly don't, because he deserved more than what he got on there. So I'm super pleased for him. And the match itself, I just thought was really, really great. There were a couple of near misses that I actually thought, oh, Cesaro might actually lose his first match, but nah, he wasn't going to, and I'm glad that he didn't either. So it was good.
What would you score 5?
I'm gonna give that one 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Yeah, this was outstanding. I mean, Monty, I don't need to tell you. You probably, well, you know how much I love Zack Sabre Jr. anyway, just kind of how he wrestles. But you must have known, like, this is just perfect. You know, for me, this is, and even the fans chant, "This is wrestling." This is wrestling. You know.
Yeah, man, it was incredible, man, and you just traded one dream match, whether Brian was there or not, for another one, man, and like the camera angle at the beginning, like you mentioned, Jaxie, confused me because the music also kind of sounded like something Gargano would have if he was there. So I was like, "Are you really kidding me?" So then when I finally seen it was him, I was like, "Okay, good, all right, no problem. That's fine. It's good to see you." I'm aggravated, but it's fine. Anyway, the match was great, though. It was a showcase of what make both of those guys special. Claudio's speed and power, of course, with the swing, and I like how they kind of kept it respectful with him only getting the swing Zach like 5 times. That was cool. Zach's striking and technical submission expertise. He is the submission master. That's what he does. At any time, he can make your favorite wrestler tap, go to sleep, whatever it is. That's what he does. And I want to ask you, too, because you're more of a historian about European wrestling, James, but this felt like just what I feel like a great European just wrestling style match is, like, at its finest. Like, you know what I mean? And having Claudio in the Combat Club, was now they're just one of the most stacked factions in existence, man. If you go off just pure talent and like wrestling ability. So anyway, overall, it was 4.5-star match for me. I loved it, and I also loved after the match looking on social media and seeing many of Claudio's friends from WWE, like Becky Lynch and others, sending their love to him in support, across the internet enemy lines. But it was great to see because, at the end of the day, they're a big, fraternity, big family. So it was nice to see them supporting them, even from WWE side too. So this was just great all around.
Without a doubt. You talk about, people like, in the old days with Jackie Pallo, even Johnny Saint, they would look at this match and just, it's pure perfection because the whole point of it holds, even the European style as such as that, is, it's like wrist control, keeping hold of your opponent, trying to get out of submissions. It's even like when Cesaro hit the sharpshooter. Looked like he was going to put the sharpshooter in and Zack Sabre Jr. made to get the heel hook. But still, Cesaro got out of it and turned it back into a sharpshooter because they were still connected, And it, like you said, Zack Sabre Jr. is a fucking octopus, man. Like the way he can, how the fuck has he got hold of me? It's just another level. 5 out of 5 for me. Jaxie, what about you?
Yeah.
Again, I sorry, I thought I actually gave my my one. I gave it like a 4.9, basically.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, 4.9.
I got you there. Yeah, just sensational stuff. I mean, I couldn't believe how happy I was at this time, and not just because again, Cesaro won, and that changes everything for the predictions. You see, people did say, "Why the fuck did I go Zack Sabre Jr.?" I will say to them, at least I didn't go Johnny Gargano. No, I'm joking. I would say to them though, Zack Sabre Jr., Brian Danielson, I've done it now, is the match that was meant to be. How that match if Zack Sabre Jr. is losing to the replacement? And I know it is Cesaro or Claudio, but still I felt I want to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Brian Danielson. But there would be no doubt who's going to win that match in the future because of what
I think in AEW. But if they do it in Japan, totally different world. Well, in front of the Japanese audience, maybe. But you're probably right.
Do you actually think that Zack Sabre Jr. would win against Brian Danielson in New Japan then?
Yes, and watch I would just say it like this: watch the G1, watch any past tournament Zach has been in, watch how he actually breaks down opponents, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I hope you have a special G1 this year while I'm hyping them up.
Well, Monty, I'll tell you something.
I can tell you, I'm so excited to actually watch this G1 after seeing like half of the talent be featured on this pay-per-view. It's just made me so excited. I want to see more.
Well, let's not forget that. I mean, all the New Japan Cup that Zack Sabre Jr. won as well,
right.
And the matches, of course, match against Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title, which again, I think we covered on one of our live shows as well. But no, that was fantastic. Again, I don't mind losing the predictions when the match is that good. So Jaxie and Gina picked Cesaro win. So what does that mean? Well, it means it is level at the top, 8-8-8 between Jaxie, Gina and myself. Monty is on 7 with 2 matches to go. And the next match was the Fatal 4-Way for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Jay White, Adam Cole, Adam Page and Kazuchika Okada. Okada got the biggest pop of the 4 in this match. There was, a match is special when there's a holy shit before anyone actually threw. The Adams paired off and fought outside the ring while Okada focused on going for White. Once Hangman took out Cole, he and Okada double-teamed White. The 2 Bullet Club allies tried to formulate a game plan at ringside, but it took too long and ended up getting attacked. Once they got on the same page, Cole and White began to control the pace. Bit like the All-Atlantic Fatal 4-Way, this one allowed everyone to ring to shine at different times. It never felt anybody was left out. And once it cleared, we'd have a fight. White and Cole threw their alliance out the window, and what followed was a long sequence of near falls and attempted finishing moves from all 4 men. In the end, it looked like Okada was going to hit the Rainmaker on Adam Cole, who collapsed. Jay White come in and managed to hit the Switchblade, and it looked like Adam Cole suffered an injury and then was pinned. I thought it was a really enjoyable match, but Monty, what do you think of this? What do you think of the finish? Because if Cole couldn't continue, they couldn't do the spot, and that was the end. But it's a little bit of a damp squib, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, it's probably the only thing that really went wrong, honestly. I think they were on a pace for, some classic level, 4-way action here. But, the way that finish happened, you ended up being more worried about Cole's health than, Jay White retaining. Or, you was more worried about his health than almost anything because, like you said, just kind of like he collapsed and he wasn't out there. And obviously they couldn't do the finishing spot. It wasn't clear at the time, why that spot didn't go as planned. So it definitely just left a weird taste in your mouth. But I understood Okada definitely wasn't going to get pinned. You're not going to have that happen. And I figured Adam Cole was going to get pinned anyway. It's just, it's a shame that he wasn't able to finish here, though. So, yeah, it definitely, in my opinion, was the only thing that went wrong. It's kind of a shame that it happened when it happened,
Yeah, I think about that. But do you agree, though, Monty, it was nice to see NXT representative with Adam Cole? For some reason, I just connected so much with NXT, and I think, there's a guy that was really successful in NXT, someone successful in New Japan, and the AEW representative.
That's fair. I didn't even think about it that way, but that's fair, though. We did kind of have like an NXT, New Japan, AEW type of thing going on there. So that's, yeah.
Well, and Okada as well, like I said, was loved by the crowd. Like I said, this was special to watch. We'll get everybody's scores. But this, Jaxie, I'll ask you, because with Adam Page, can he become like the Okada to AEW? We talk about Roman Reigns with WWE. Can Hangman actually become like the go-to guy in AEW?
I mean, I honestly believe that he has all the potential to be that kind of guy, especially because he excites the crowd without the belt. There is something very likable about him, and he's just very real. Like, we've seen his struggles, we've seen his ups and downs, and I think he was a great addition to this match. I do agree with Monty. I think that Adam Cole was probably put more added into this fatal 4-way to be able to take the pin. I definitely would not have been happy if Okada took that pin because, I mean, I kind of fell in love with him. Like, he is amazing to watch, and I just wanted to keep watching him. Like, I honestly, fell in love with this guy. So, yeah, he's now Daddy Rainmaker. And I look forward to watching him sort of in future New Japan wrestling matches. I was very worried about Adam Cole, seeing him sort of drop down the way he did. I kind of knew something wasn't right the minute he did that, and I feel like Jay White was getting into the ring and when he saw that, and I think that he just made the decision right there and then. I just thought, no, I'm calling it. which probably was best because, I mean, Jay White and Adam Cole are very close friends. And, you know, if me and my sister were in that situation and I saw that, I would have definitely done exactly the same thing. You know, health comes first at the end of the day. And yes, it kind of put a bit of a damper on the finish to the match, but it didn't take away from the match at all. I thought all four men really did very well. And I just want to point out on a side note that I know that there's been a lot of talking shit about body shaming when it comes to Adam Cole as of late. And I just actually want to turn around to everyone that body shames out there and just say, look at yourselves. Take a look at yourselves and imagine having hundreds of thousands of people body shaming you online. It's not nice when these men are putting their lives on it out there 24/7. We saw what happened with Adam Cole. We don't need that shit. Like they don't need it. We as wrestling fans don't need it. If you guys ain't got nothing nice to say, especially when it comes to body shaming, you wouldn't do it for half of the women. Don't say anything at all, because all it's going to do is piss off everyone, not just the wrestlers, not just, you know, the commentators, the referees will come into the aid. It pisses off the fans as well. None of us are looking at Adam Cole and thinking he's got a bad bod. We're looking at the level of talent. So if you can't look at the talent and all of your thoughts are superficial like that, then you're watching the wrong content. Go watch something else, yeah? Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest because I saw some really horrible tweets at the beginning of the week about it, and it pissed me off. But I don't actually rise up and chat shit back to them because of like that just adds to their folly. That's what they want. So I just wanted to put that out there. Again, this match was amazing. I thought it was really, really good. If it hadn't been for the ending, I think it would have been a 5-star caliber match, but I put it as 4.9 again.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be getting any emails next week complaining about Jaxie. I think we're safe, guys. All right, I don't think we're gonna get anything coming our way now with Jaxie protecting us. Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it a 4.25 out of 5. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree in terms of it would have been a 5-star match had it not really been for the ending for me. So I gave it 4.75.
And Monty, what are you going to score this?
Yeah, man, I gave it 4.25. Like you said, the Okada looked like a star. He really like a big deal in this match. They even did his zoom out for his spot. I'm just so happy that they was doing all the little fan service nods for us New Japan fans who know his sequences and just how he wrestles. And yeah, man, like I said, I wish Cole the best. And he was already working hurt. That's two. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing. He's already had the shoulder. He had his shoulder wrapped. You know, so to get the match started in the first place. So I really do wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, 4.25. I thought this was still fantastic.
Yeah, and what's interesting as well, looked like some people went home after Okada had wrestled. Like, that's why they'd bought the ticket.
Wow.
You know, there seems to be a few empty seats in the main event. And I'm thinking, well, people...
How the hell are you going to go ahead and pay that certain amount to come to a pay-per-view and you can't stay for one more goddamn match?
Because,
You know
like
what?
you
Next
said,
time
it's...
next time give me that ticket. That was a waste.
It's what Jay White said. It's a draw. You know, when you're a big enough draw, look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was him who brought people to that building. And that's
he does usually go last. I don't excuse it, but he does usually go last.
Well, I'm saying is what? You guys didn't want to stick around for Tanner Hashley and John Moxley? You're mad.
But some people bought this card. Yeah, I completely agree. But some probably bought their tickets just to see Okada, you know, and that shows what a draw. But that's a positive as well with what a draw is.
Look, I just told you I fell in love with Okada, but that was a waste of a ticket. Seriously.
Well,
no, we don't disagree, but he's right. That just shows the strength of the Rainmaker, man. Like you said, a true number one guy.
Yeah. There's no doubt. There is no doubt in Japan, New Japan, who that guy is. You know, predictions. We all went Jay White, so it means it is, Monty, you're on 8. Everybody else is on 9. Poll-wise, Adam Cole got 8%, Page got 12%, Okada 22%, but Jay White with 58%. And then we get the brief video talking about the interim AEW World Championship and our main event. And we see John Moxley walking backstage with William Regal by his side. I fucking love it. I don't know why I love it so much, but I just do. It's like, you
Oh,
know,
it looks so badass.
I'm so exactly the same. I got hyped seeing William Regal walk next to like John Moxley. I couldn't help myself. I was getting so hyped seeing him there.
it was just,
And Mox looked amped up, like he was
Yes.
ready. Like Mox
Yeah.
was into it. You could see it in his face.
well, and Hiroshi Tanahashi got a good reaction, but not nearly as loud as Moxley, which is not really much surprise. The interim AEW World Championship on the line in the main event, Forbidden Door, and it's one of the few matches of the show that actually started with a simple collar and elbow tie-up. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? They were kept the pace steady, used the classic sequence we've seen in a lot of other matches. They knew they were going to go hard soon, but it was just technical at the time. And even Kevin Kelly on commentary going, he doesn't like hardcore matches. He wants to wrestle his opponents, you know?
Yes. He's a wrestler's wrestler.
Yeah, and adds another layer more than we know. But then they started training strikes, and it was clear Moxley had a slight advantage as a brawler. But when they were back to grapple, Tanahashi took over for the most part. Felt never neither man were in control for more than a couple of minutes, so it's all quite competitive. Then we kicked it off, and it seemed to go from technical to blood fucking fest in a blink of an eye. I mean, Mox loves to bleed, there's no doubt. Talk about a crimson mask, you know.
I mean, yeah, like I just feel sorry for Renee because I feel like Renee's probably coming out of this every single time. Like, great, how much blood is he going to lose this time?
Is that again? You're bleeding again. It'll be like Abdullah the Butcher sooner rather than later. But see Tanahashi surviving several near falls before Moxley finally put him away with a paradigm shift. Like I said, a lot to enjoy in this one, but I found this incredibly visual, which is quite difficult to describe on an audio podcast. But again, it is really, really, really good stuff. And then afterwards, we had a preview for Dynamite as Jericho Appreciation Society came down. Castagnoli joined the fight to end the show and send the home happy. I wasn't that happy about that because I thought the bigger moment was the respect between Mox and Tanahashi. I know you got to sell blood and guts, but we're not, don't.
It was unnecessary.
I thought it was a bit much. I didn't think that this was needed. Like it stopped being about like sort of what just went down and just kind of they were like, anyway, let's move on. Like for me, I was still reading from the match, so I was a little bit. I didn't really feel like they needed to end it the way they did. But I mean, again, this is just personal preference. A lot of people might like that sort of fan service, but I didn't really feel like it was needed.
No, and the New Japan people, the fans watching this.
It felt like it was dark in Elevation where they just always have those spots where everyone just comes out and gets involved to end it or something. It just felt a little bit like that.
But like I said, this was a really, really good brawl. Gina, what did you think of the event?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was a standard Mox match, blood everywhere. Didn't expect any less, but the crowd were hyped for it, and I was still hyped for it after the long show too. So I still really enjoyed the match, and I gave it 4 3/4 as well.
Yeah, no, really, really. Like I said, I would say standard Mox, but it's just going to be mental at some point in it. It's just like, and it really was a couple of bulldog chokes.
I actually say that he is the Mike Tyson of wrestling in terms of fighting. You just always know there's going to be some fighting or something like that. There's going to be blood. He's just going to fuck shit up and do what he wants. So, it's a Mox match.
Do you know what? Literally, Moxley needs a T-shirt that says "fuck shit up." Just that would sell. No, really, really good stuff. Monty, what do you think? Were you disappointed with Tanahashi, or as in due, or anything else that kind of happened in this one?
No way, no. I was disappointed with the ending because, like I said, I just felt like that was unnecessary. And I thought it would have been more important to have them both like Tanahashi raise his hand as kind of like a symbolism. All right, he is worthy. He is on my level. He's your world champion. I'd rather have the show end that way. But I honestly, you mentioned it. You said Tanahashi had a good reaction when he came out compared to Moxley's nuclear reaction. But by the end of that match, he had them chanting "Go Ace." He had them believing that he had a shot, and that's the thing that Tanahashi still can do better than anybody in wrestling. A lot of like this is what makes him a legend. He will make you believe in him. You know what I'm saying? And like even in a brawl against someone you can say he's overmatched against in a brawl, he made you believe in him against Moxley. So I thought it was awesome, man. And to hear Go Ace chants in AEW really crystallized what made this match so special and this whole night so awesome to me at that point. So the fact that Tanahashi was making all those people believe, and in my opinion, making anybody who was watching and paying attention to this match believe, the fact that he can hook you in. And like you said, it's a very, very visual match. That's the Japanese wrestling style. They don't speak the same language as everybody. Wrestling, like Okada always says, wrestling is a universal language. So they use facial expression. Asuka is awesome at it. They use, paint. They use physical strikes and all that type of stuff to really drag you in. They make you believe by the way they look. So you have to pay attention. And Tanahashi is an expert at that. And that's how come he can hook everyone in. So I love this match. I gave it 4 3/4. This was awesome to me. And I just thought if they left it alone and didn't do the blood and guts preview that we didn't really need. We didn't need another Claudio Pop. He had an awesome one. The crowd was already tired at that point. They stayed hyped the entire show. I just feel like you give them a bow and then maybe you come out to do your speech after the show like you usually do and just let Tanahashi and Moxley stand tall, representing New Japan and AEW as your closing shot. But anyway, 4 3 stars. 4 3/4 stars for me is the way I'm going here.
Yeah, it's a shame they ended Dynamite, Rampage, and Forbidden Door all the same.
Exactly.
But we'll see how it goes on. Jaxie, what would you score that out of 5?
Yeah, I gave it 4 3/4 as well.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. Like I said, it was proper Mox.
I do have to say, Monty, what you just mentioned about sort of New Japan being kind of colorful and like making you want to watch. Like by the end of this pay-per-view for me, I felt like I wanted to fully invest in New Japan. I just felt in love with every single wrestler from there, and I felt like it was just something new, something different that we've not really, myself mainly, not been really accustomed to. It was so great. It's really like kind of picked up my love for wrestling even more, and now I want to venture out and try and see more. I know that there's so much wrestling out there, and that is a majority of the reason why I don't get to everything, because there's so much. But now I want to try with New Japan. It was just so exciting for me.
I think, well, I'd say, so yeah, the secret is, I think, Jaxie, when it comes to that, is don't try and watch it all. I've made that mistake, and you just can't. Monty has taught me this lesson as well. It's like, even with
yourself, man.
It's just select. Well, for me, it's like just a couple of matches from a card or the the main event, and then just or what I like doing as well. And again, if anybody wants to, it's like even with Zack Sabre Jr. with New Japan Cup, with the G1, just follow their matches. I know it sounds quite simple, but just be like, he's my pick. Let's see where he goes in the competition,
Definitely. And I do feel like, I'm very lucky and blessed to have the New Japan expert, within our grasp. So I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to help point me in the direction of what's best to watch when it comes to everything New Japan.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and that's lovely, but just don't ask him to give you any predictions, all right? Because it's not... It's not been a good night.
Hey man, this was such a fun show for me. I was fine with it. I didn't even care. I promise you, I didn't care. I was just like, bro, New Japan is in America, trending in America. New Japan is trending in America, and it's not 3 a.m.
Yeah, but it's a bit bad because it's like we all got a point then. So if scores end 9-9-9-8. So we all get an AEW prediction point, apart from Monty. We all got a bonus point, except Monty as well. I felt bad. It's not a good night for Monty. But prediction leagues at this moment in time. So the bonus league, this changed quite a few things, ladies and gentlemen. It means Gina, Jaxie, and Monty are all on 6 points when it comes to the bonus league. I've stuck ahead with 10 points, but we will have bonus points on the line. I'll explain that in a minute. The AEW prediction league now. Monty, you're on 0, my friend. Gina, you get your first score, so you're on 1. Jaxie's on 2. I'm in the lead with 3. But look how close that is as well.
I'll take that spot back soon.
And this is even better. This weekend we get points for the W Pay-Per-View League, where of course Money in the Bank. But we'll be also getting a cashing card, which we'll explain more about, where there'll be bonus point on the line for when the cash-in actually happens.
So creative, this league.
Mate, when you've done it for 7 years, you need to create your own excitement. You know what I'm saying?
So creative.
So, at the moment, Gina is on 3 points when it comes to W pay-per-views. Jaxie, myself, and Monty are on 4. So, Gina, a win this Saturday at Money in the Bank could be huge and change the course of time in itself.
James, it's not gonna happen.
That's the spirit.
Are even worse than my AEW ones. So it's a nice thought, yeah, thanks, but that's definitely not gonna happen to me.
Well, the last thing we want is Monty to strike back. All right, so I need to keep going. Whatever I've done
on my downfall, man.
Whatever I've done since WrestleMania is working, but. Yeah, Monty, you will say those who said, my demise were extremely inaccurate and he could be coming back now. But poll-wise for that, Moxley was 79% of the vote. So overall, this is incredible because it's going to be difficult to pick match of the night. Well, for me, match of the night is going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Claudio / Cesaro. Pure technical wrestling, 5 stars all round. Jaxie, what was your match of the night? Because you got a couple of 4.95s.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with match of the night being Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, Gina, what about you?
I'm actually going to go with the 4-way of Malachi Black versus Pat versus Miro versus Clark.
Yeah, that said, you scored. I mean, there was 4 matches, 4 3/4 of 5 from you. So, like I said, there was a lot going on, a lot of choices there. And Monty, what about your match?
This is how good this card was. We're gonna have all 4 different answers. Tanahashi and Moxley was my match of the night. So, I'm trying to tell you, I think it was so many strong options. So that's how good this card was for me.
That has never happened before.
Hard to actually choose one. Like, in my notes, I literally had like 2 different matches that I had put, match of the night question mark next to, because I was like, which one do I pick?
Well, the problem with me is I picked Zack Sabre Jr. Cesaro, and then kind of like rewatched Ospreay, Orange Cassidy going, oh fuck it, I think that's got better now, hasn't it? Like it's unbelievable. So that bleeds into my MVP. Because my MVP of the night should be the Great Khan, to be fair, because he is a legend. But I'm going to give it to Orange Cassidy and Will because I didn't give them a match. So I'll give it to them guys. Jaxie, big question. Who is the MVP of this incredible card?
Oh, the MVP for me was Daddy Rainmaker Okada. I found my new love.
Great.
I tell you what, Monty, if Okada and Ricky Starks ever team up, we are in trouble.
Oh my God, that would be exciting.
They would definitely fight before they team up. Unfortunately, though.
No, I want it now. I would love that. I would live that.
Yeah, me too.
Gina, who's your MVP of the night?
I'm also going with Okada. He was badass.
And Monty, what about you?
Yeah, man, I gave it to Ospreay, man, and like you said, Orange Cassidy. Claudio was also someone I wrote down. I thought it was just a big night for him. Thought it was special. So, yeah, those are the people that came to mind.
All right, and then finally, final thoughts. Well, for me, I'll tell you what, this reminded me a little bit of Stand in 2005 with the ECW Revival show, because it felt like magic, felt like we're experiencing magic. You know, the way the crowd was, the matches set up, great. The high flow, I fucked it up, but I set this up, and this was great. The high fly flow of the card was great, but unfortunately I failed in delivering the line, which is disappointing. But as we said, not anybody lost anything in feet. You know, you can go back and look at the matches,
Right.
and that's when you know. I mean, Will Ospreay, Jay White, and Zack Sabre Jr., I'd pick them for any promotion. If I was going to be a Tony Khan and start my own promotion tomorrow, those three guys definitely on there.
And all three of them are where?
Yes. It's weird because I'm going to be annoyed we're not going to see AEW and New Japan mixing it up more. And like I said, especially with the people who impress, you know, when we talk about even, like, I don't want to step over, you know, anybody else, but like Greater Khan, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Okada, Tanahashi, it's like, shit, all the guys that I really liked are New Japan
and
guys.
this is just a taste of the roster, too.
I'm just really hoping that this is going to be one of those annual events that we will get once a year, because I don't want this to be the first and only time we get a crossover like that. It was just too peak.
What an event. And like I said, the New Japan talent that we're seeing as well is just incredible, and it's a shame we're not going to see any more. But I'm going to score this 9.5 out of 10. Jaxie, what about you?
So what was your score?
9.5.
9.5. I went with 9, so.
Fair enough. Gina?
Sorry, what was the question?
Score out of 10 for the entire show.
Oh, yeah, I'll give it a 9.
And Monty, what's your score and your final thoughts?
Yeah, man, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. This was awesome to me, man. I don't think this is my New Japan bias talking either. Just a hell of a show. Special night of wrestling. It was all paced well. So my concerns from last show from AEW, you know, they went away here. New Japan looked strong. Whether they won or lost, AEW looked strong. And I think it really made a great impression on new fans and other people, as Jaxie showed here today, that, you know, they definitely left a good impression on her. So, like, it just makes me proud as a fan, a longtime fan of New Japan, to show everybody, to kind of invite a lot of other people in to what I already know is special. So it's kind of good to see I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this is awesome. And everyone can see how awesome it is. So, you know, I'm glad that a lot of new people could be possibly giving New Japan a chance going forward. And this is what I love about professional wrestling. I think stuff like this is why we love pro wrestling. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. This is as close to perfect as you can get.
Yeah, without doubt. And like you said, it's validation for you, because you've been watching this time. It's even like with the NXT UK stuff, and I say, like, I'm not crazy. This is good. Yeah, and you're like, yeah, no,
right.
It's good.
Yeah, we just need more eyes on it.
I'm like, fuck for that. I thought it was us. But like you said, again, I was saying the reason for this podcast, for the podcast to actually start, was to show originally Jared, who didn't know anything about wrestling, and Dan, things they'd never seen before, where it would be old pay-per-views or classic matches. And I love the fact that this group, as in the WNR team, is just so positive about wrestling at this moment in time and wanting to watch other things. And like I said, Jaxie, to hear you sound so excited about New Japan, and obviously with Gina as well, wanting to watch more things. This is why we're wrestling fans, you know? And that's the thing, wrestling. It's not just WWE. It's not just AEW. Look how much is out there, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, this, again, it stems from, like you said, a love of wrestling. And it's not exactly like, you know, I've only just found this newfound love for Japan. For New Japan. I've always been intrigued by it, but just not had the time when I'm watching so much wrestling as it is. That being said, I am determined to make time to at least check out some of New Japan now because of how it has left me. So if anything, Tony just did a really great job at getting this promotion to work together with them, because you know, I'm not going to be the only wrestling fan out there that hasn't experienced New Japan Wrestling, but is now a New Japan fan. And I'm just kind of proud of the content that they provided us with, because it really did showcase what we already knew, but for our eyes.
Yeah, I think we're at that, and I think that is basically a perfect way to end it. And also, we had the new segment today, which was Ask Monty, which will will make an appearance with stuff to come. But that is it for now. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter, at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR, and you can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Or Monty, where can people listen to you?
At Mind Monty Pod on Twitter. Just click the link in the bio. You can check out my latest podcast. Check out all the new projects on YouTube. Go to Monty's Universe, or you can do what I just said earlier. And, just check it out. But I appreciate all the support. Like I said, as a New Japan guy, this is a very, very special show to me. So I was happy to review this with you guys. And, yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and what's another thing, Monty, you say that's crazy is, and I sent this link to the group as well, the episode we did, I think it was like WNR428, was called The Forbidden Door. And it was kind of you introducing me to the kind of up-to-date stuff, which is crazy to think that was, nearly 100 episodes ago.
Right. It's been a wild ride. Man.
That's crazy, man. But like I said, Jaxie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me across both Instagram and Twitter at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Gina?
You can find me on both at Purple Pain.
Perfect. And also WNR on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us your pissy emails at the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. YouTube, all latest clips, podcasts at the same time on YouTube. We do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. But our next episode, we're not having a break, guys. We're going straight back into it. Saturday, we'll have the Money in the Bank live pre-show. Of course, catch up Raw, SmackDown, talking about AEW Blood and Guts, looking at Impact's 20-year anniversary, and, of course, talking about Vince McMahon. But until then, I have been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett, the mind of Monty, and the genius of Gina. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.